The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
One of my earliest memories as a little kid, I was in the car with my father. It was we were somewhere in Brighton Beach. That's where we lived. And I remember my father had to get out of the car to make a phone call. So he went to a public phone. Those of you who never saw one, I can explain to you. Telephone Tziburi. I think they still have them in Israel also. No, maybe not. I don't remember. Anyway, so the public telephone, and we go to the public telephone, and it's 10 degrees outside. Now I remember, I'm shivering, and my father's shivering, and he goes ahead and he takes, those days was a nickel, the nickel puts in the phone, and he wants to make a phone call, and unbeknownst to my father, there were gangs in those days. But what they used to do is they would stuff up the coin return of these phones. It was just a hole over there. They'd stuff up the coin return, and all the returned nickels that were supposed to come back wouldn't come back because the tissue was stuffed up in there. So they knew which phones they had stuffed up, and they have a route. And they'd make a route, like once, twice a week they come around, pull out the tissues from the phones that they knew, all the change would come out. They would keep it. It was like a racket that they ran in those days. This is the way it worked. Then the phone company got smart, and the coin return had like a drawer, which you couldn't access anymore. But those days, all was a hole. Okay? The father puts in a nickel, makes the call. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. Tissue falls out, and tons of nickels fall out. So my father, he sees all these nickels over there. My father right away calls operator. Hello, and his very, very heavy accent in English. He says, I'm by a phone booth, and a whole bunch of nickels came out. And in those days, the operators, they had the ability to push a switch. And when you threw in a thing, either it could come back to the coin return or accepted by the phone. So he called the operator. He says, listen, please operate your thing. I'm going to be putting in nickels. They should all fall into the phone and it shouldn't come back to the coin return. So the lady said, Mister, take the nickels. Take the nickels. I'm going to sit here and make every nickel go into the box. She said, you don't understand, he tells her. I'm a rabbi. Says, and this is not mine. She says, Mister, it's yours. He says, no, it's not mine. It's not mine. He says, actually, whose it is, I'm not really sure. But mine for sure it's not. And he stood there in the cold, and I stood there cold, and she sat at the operator on the other side, because she was in a comfortable place. And she kept doing the thing until he put back every single nickel. He wouldn't take a nickel that wasn't his. Right? That's called clarity. That's called clarity. You can be Meira Heter 50 ways till Sunday. Plenty of things to do. Lamaisa, he had at least a shail on it. Meins idos nicht, mine it's not. And this is what he would do. That's the pshat of clarity.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org